It's working, folks.
Everyone.
Took a while.
Over the age of 16.
But we're in it.
Everyone is now eligible to get vaccinated right now, right away. Go get vaccinated, America. Go
For what
get
reason?
The vaccination. They're
For what reason?
available.
For what reason?
You're eligible now.
Still wear a mask.
When I was sworn in on January 20th, less than 1% of the seniors in America were fully vaccinated against COVID-19. 100 days later, 70% of seniors in America over 65 are protected, fully protected. Senior deaths from COVID-19 are down 80% since January. Down 80% because of all of you. And more than half of all the adults in America have gotten at least one shot. A mass vaccination center in Glendale, Arizona, I asked the nurse, I said, "What's it like?" She looked at me and she said,
Being a bae.
"It's like every shot is giving a dose of hope," is her phrase, a dose of hope. A dose of hope for an educator in Florida who has a child suffering from an autoimmune disease. Wrote to me, said she's worried, and she was worried about bringing the virus home. She said she then got vaccinated at a large site in her car. She said she sat in her car when she got vaccinated and just cried. Cried out of joy and cried out of relief. Parents, seeing the smiles on their kids' faces for those who are able to go back to school because the teachers and school bus drivers and cafeteria workers have been vaccinated. Grandparents, hugging their children and grandchildren instead of pressing hands against a window to say goodbye. Means everything. Those things mean everything. You know, there's still, you all know it, you know it better than any group of Americans, there's still more work to do to beat this virus. We can't let our guard down. But tonight, I can say, because of you,
I can say it.
the American people, our progress these past 100 days against one of the worst pandemics in history has been one of the greatest logistical achievements this country's ever seen. What else have we done in those first 100 days? We kept our commitment, Democrats and Republicans, of sending $1,400 rescue checks to 85% of American households. We've already sent more than 160 million checks out the door. It's making a difference. You all know it when you go home. For many people, it's making all the difference in the world. The single mom in Texas who wrote me, she said she couldn't work. But she said the relief check put food on the table and saved her and her son from eviction from their apartment.
How you guys feeling?
A grandmother in Virginia who told me she immediately took her granddaughter to the eye doctor.
Immediate.
Something she said she put off for months because she didn't have the money. One of the defining images, at least from my perspective in this crisis, has been cars lined up for miles. And not people just barely able to start those cars, nice cars. Lined up for miles, waiting for a box of food to be put in their trunk. I don't know about you, but I didn't ever think I'd see that in America.
Yes, they were.
All of this is
way more
no
fun, Patty.
fault of their own. No fault of their own. These people are in this position.
Welcome to the sleep show.
That's why the rescue plan is delivering food
How you doing,
and nutritious
Spicy
assistance
Patty?
to millions of Americans facing hunger. And hunger's down sharply already.
Just
We're
hunger?
also providing rental
What are we
assistance.
talking about here?
You all know this, but the American people, I want to make sure they understand. Keeping people from being evicted from their homes. Providing loans to small businesses that reopen and keep their employees
Feedback on the
job.
mic. It's killing me.
During these 100 days, an additional 800,000 Americans enrolled in the Affordable Care Act when I established a special sign-up period to do that. 800,000 in that period.
Hey.
The largest one-time ever investments, ever,
Sengi.
and improving health care for veterans.
Thanks for
Critical investments to
thanks for
address the
joining.
opioid crisis. And maybe
Doing good. Drinking
most
game for tonight is
importantly,
empty the bridge if Joe
thanks
mentions
to the American
legalization
Rescue
at
Plan,
all.
we're on track
I'm ready. I'm ready,
to cut
Spicy.
child poverty in America in
I'm
half
ready.
this year.
How do you teach a man to fish he can eat the rest of his life? Yes.
And in the process, while this was all going on, the economy created more than 1,300,000 new jobs in 100 days. More jobs in the first 100 days than any president on record. The International Monetary Fund.
What kind of sip you gonna match with that drip? I'm drinking a little IPA from Odell. Love this brewery.
Monetary Fund is now estimating our economy.
Can I get an amen?
More than 6%.
Dude, you can get an amen. Amen.
That will be the fastest pace of economic growth in this country in nearly 4
Sorry,
decades.
Spicy Patty. I'm on Twitch too.
America's moving. Moving
America's on the move.
forward. We can't stop
Aslan
now.
is on the move.
We're in competition with China and other countries to win
Wow,
the 21st
not Russia?
century.
I thought
We're at a great
Democrats.
inflection point in history. We have to do more than just build back better. We have to build back better.
Better.
We have to compete
Say
more
that 10 times fast.
strenuously than we have. Throughout our history, if you think about it, public investment in infrastructure has literally transformed America, our attitudes as well as our opportunities. The transcontinental
Want me to jump
railroad,
over there? Where do you need to follow?
interstate highways. United
Hey,
Two
no,
Oceans
YouTube.
devote a
YouTube's where it's
totally
at. I
new
don't,
age
or
of
Twitch. I don't
progress
care.
to the United States of America.
YouTube's perfect. I don't get a lot of views. I get
Universal
more
public
views on
schools and
Twitch,
college
which I'm
aid.
surprised about.
Open wide the doors of opportunity. Scientific breakthroughs took us to the moon. Now we're on Mars discovering vaccines.
I think I'll
gave
get
us the
canceled on
internet.
Twitch faster.
There's so much more. These are investments we made together as one country. And investments that only the government was in a position to make.
Appreciate you, Spicy.
Time and again.
Appreciate you, Sangi
They propel us into the
666. God. Are you live on
That's why I
YouTube also?
proposed
Yes,
the
I
American
am.
Jobs Plan.
I'm live on YouTube,
A once-in-a-generation
Twitch,
investment in America itself.
Facebook,
This is
and
the largest jobs
Twitter at the
plan
same time.
Since World War II.
That's how I guess down.
Creates jobs to upgrade our transportation infrastructure. Jobs,
Say that 10 times fast.
modernizing our
Transportation
roads,
infrastructure, transportation
bridges,
infrastructure,
highways.
transportation infrastructure,
jobs
bridges,
building
highways.
ports and airports, rail corridors.
There's
transit
Mitch
lines.
McConnell. Hey, Mitch.
It's
Mitch
clean
McConnell,
water.
blah, blah, blah.
And today, up to 10 million homes in America and more than
Dang, no
400,000
PH.
schools
PH?
and child care centers have pipes with lead in them, including drinking water. A clear and present danger to our children's health. American Jobs Plan creates jobs replacing 100% of the nation's lead pipes and service lines so every American can drink clean water.
Hey, speaking of drinking, here's that plant-based beer drinker. Plant-based beer drinker right there.
I
can't believe he wrote that. He had to been joking.
Jobs. creates
Facebook.
jobs
He can tell
connecting
stories to
every
his
American
grandkids
with
at night. He
high-speed
wants
internet,
facts and numbers, not fairy
including
tales and drama.
35%
No shit.
of the rural America that still
Yes,
doesn't have
Rance.
it. This is going to help our kids and our businesses succeed in the 21st century economy. And I'm asking the Vice President to lead this effort, if she would. Because I know it'll get done.
Well, she's doing a great job on the border. I mean,
Creates
look at the
jobs,
job she's
building a
doing.
modern
Great job.
power
She's
grid.
giving everyone a book.
Our
So
grids are vulnerable to storms, hacks,
she's doing a great job.
catastrophic failures with tight,
my
tragic results,
Oh,
as we
drink.
saw in Texas and elsewhere during the winter storms.
Chuck Schumer.
American Jobs Plan will create jobs that lay thousands of miles of transmission lines needed to build a resilient and fully clean grid. We can do that. Look,
In 2020, to be a proud president, every person from our
American
country can
Jobs
drink
Plan
water.
will help millions of people get back to their jobs and back to their careers. 2 million women have dropped out of the workforce during this pandemic. 2 million.
No, to take care of kids. Why? Because all the kids
And
can't
too
go to
often
school.
because they couldn't get the care they needed to care for their child,
Because it was closed
care for an
down.
elderly parent.
Because it
needs
was
help.
closed down. What do you? This
800,000 families are on the Medicare waiting list right now to get home care for their aging parent.
dude.
loved
Everyone
one
knows
with
Medicare is
disability.
better than private insurance.
If you think it's not important, check out in your own district, Democrat or Republican. Democrat or Republican voters. Their great concern, almost as much as their children, is taking care of an elderly loved one who can't be left alone. Medicaid contemplated it, but this plan is going to help those families and create jobs for our caregivers with better wages and better benefits, continuing the cycle of growth. For too long, we've failed to use the most important word when it comes to meeting the climate crisis: jobs. Jobs. Jobs.
What? I don't even follow that train of thought. Big brain alert. Big brain.
For me, when I think climate change, I think jobs. American Jobs Plan will put engineers and construction workers to work building more energy-efficient buildings and homes.
What if nobody signs up for those
Electrical
jobs?
workers, IBEW members installing 500,000 charging stations along our highways so we can own
I thought it was carbon neutral. Yeah, me too.
so we can own the electric car market. Farmers planting cover crops so they can reduce the carbon dioxide in the air and get paid for doing it.
Yeah, get rid of all those cows and their farts.
Think about it. There is simply no reason why the blades for wind turbines can't be built in Pittsburgh instead of Beijing. No reason. None. No reason.
Nuclear energy. Nuclear energy.
There's no reason why American
Yeah, they damn sure won't build a wall, pipe,
can't lead the
or a
world with
pipeline.
production of electric
Yeah,
vehicles
exactly.
and batteries.
Cut down the
And there's no
pipeline.
reason.
Can't do the wall, but we're gonna build wind turbines. Priorities.
The brightest, best trained people in the world. The American Jobs Plan is going to create millions of good-paying jobs.
Right,
jobs
Patty?
Americans can raise a family on. As my dad would then say, with a little breathing room.
Oh my God! Quit pretending like
All
you're a
investments
common
in the American
person. You're a
Jobs Plan will be
multimillionaire.
guided by one
You're doing
principle.
just fine, Joe.
Buy American. Buy American.
Cripple the economy.
And I
Cripple
know
the economy.
That
Cripple.
does not violate any trade agreement. It's been the law since the 30s. Buy American. American tax dollars are going to be used to buy American products made in America to create American jobs. That's the way it's supposed to be, and it will be in this administration.
Exactly. And then we're gonna bring up the corporate tax so that those jobs will go away to other. Wait a minute.
And I made it clear to all my cabinet people, their ability to give exemptions has been strenuously limited. It will be American
Strenuously.
products. Now, I know some of you at home are wondering,
Are these two the
these
scariest
jobs
two
are for you.
in the background? I don't know what's worse.
so many of you, so many of the folks I grew up with, feel left behind
Hey, go away.
in an economy that's so rapidly changing. It's frightening. I want to speak directly to you.
Speak to me,
Think
baby.
about it.
Speak to me.
That's what people are most worried about. Can I fit in? Independent experts
Yes.
estimate the American Jobs Plan will
Love
add
that word.
millions of jobs and trillions of dollars to economic growth in the years to come. It is an 8-year program. These are good-paying jobs that can't be outsourced. Nearly 90% of the infrastructure
He
jobs
is too
created
old,
in the American
Sankey.
Jobs
He's
Plan
too old.
do not require a college degree. 75% don't require an associate's degree. The American Jobs Plan is a blue-collar blueprint to build America. That's what it is.
Oh my God. Quit trying to pretend like union jobs are better than private sector. We're going to force these companies to pay a certain
I've
wage.
always said.
And you won't be able to afford anything they make.
Good guys and women on Wall Street, but Wall Street didn't build this country. The middle class built the country.
Exactly. And then they
unions
put
built the middle
you
class.
in power. Wall Street put you in power.
So that's
Who's
what
behind Joe
brought
Biden?
Congress.
All the main players. Democratic Party is not the
Protect
class of
right
the
to
working
organize
people.
Act,
I'm
the
just
PRO
sorry.
Act, and send
You're
it to
not
my
anymore.
desk so we can support the right to unionize.
Boo!
By the way, while you're thinking about sending things to my desk, let's raise the minimum wage to $15.
Yes, and cripple everyone. Yay, say bye to small businesses. Yes.
No one
Yay.
working 40 hours a week.
Destroy the Yay, destroy restaurants.
40 hours a week should
Yay.
live below the poverty line.
Oh my God. No high schooler should live below the poverty line under their parents'
Let's get the
basement.
Paycheck Fairness Act to my desk as well. Equal pay. They spent much too long. And if you wonder whether it's too long, look behind me. And finally,
God.
American Jobs Plan will be the biggest increase in non-defense
Yeah,
research and
that's true.
development on record. We'll see more technological change. And some of you know more about this than I do.
Of course we
We'll
do,
see
because
more
you're
technological
old.
change in the next 10 years than we saw in the last 50. That's how
Not if you cripple
rapidly
the economy. Not if you cripple the
artificial
economy.
intelligence and so much more is changing.
UFOs are real.
And we're falling behind the competition with the rest of the world. Decades
Because
ago,
we're focused on green
we
energy.
used to invest
Duh.
2% of our gross domestic product in America. 2% of our gross domestic product in research and development. Today, Mr. Secretary, that's less than 1%. China and other countries are closing in fast. We have to develop and dominate the products and technologies of the future. Advanced batteries, biotechnology, computer
Allow
chips.
China to dig
Clean
for
energy.
rare minerals, and then we'll just buy
The
them from
Secretary of
them.
Defense can tell you,
for our green
and
energy.
Those of you who work in national security issues know, the Defense Department has an agency called DARPA. The Defense Advanced Research Project
Speaking of
Agency.
DARPA, hey, go away.
The people who set up before I came here, and that's been a long time ago, to develop breakthroughs that enhance our national security. That's their only job. And it's a semi-separate agency. It's under
Yeah,
the
that's
Defense
their only job. Sure.
It's led to everything from the discovery of the internet to GPS.
Al Gore
and
discovered
so
the
much
internet.
more. It's enhanced our security. The National Institute of Health, the NIH, I believe, should create a similar advanced research projects agency for health.
Yeah, maybe Fauci can lead that.
And that would, here's what
He's
it would
doing such a
do.
great job. We're just gonna.
To develop breakthroughs to prevent, detect, and treat diseases like Alzheimer's, diabetes, and cancer. I'll still never forget when we passed.
Hey, Lord, I'll do a
cancer
recap
proposal
at the end, man.
Last year as vice president. Almost $9 million going to NIH.
He's been talking about his infrastructure plan and
Excuse
his
the point of
how he's
personal
going to.
privilege. Never
put
forget
us
you
farther
standing
in
there
debt.
And saying, name it after my deceased son. It meant a lot. But
He's
so
already
many of
putting us $10 trillion more in debt.
have deceased sons, daughters, and relatives who died of cancer.
That's when you
I
know
can
somebody
think of no
that's never
more
started a
worthy
job.
investment. I know of nothing that is more bipartisan. So let's end cancer as we know it. It's within our power. It's within our power to do it.
Don't you think a private company would want to find that out by now? It would be so lucrative. It would be unbelievable.
Investments in jobs and infrastructure like the ones we're talking about have often had bipartisan support in the past.
Hey, Lord, appreciate you
Vice
for jumping on then, man.
Harris and I met regularly in the Oval Office with Democrats and Republicans and discussed the jobs plan. And I applaud a group of Republican senators who just put forward their own proposal. So let's get to work. I wanted to lay out before the Congress my plan before we got into the deep discussions. I'd like to meet with those who have ideas that are different, they think are better. I welcome those ideas. But the rest of the world is not waiting for us. I just want to be clear. From my perspective, doing nothing is not an option.
It's always an option in life. You always have an option to do nothing. You must
We can't
do
be so
something.
busy competing with one another that we forget the competition that we have with the rest of the world to win the 21st century. Secretary Blinken can tell you I spent a lot of time with President Xi.
Yes, Brandon, I did change my hair.
Traveled over 17,000 miles with
Gorgeous.
him. Spent, they tell me, over 24 hours in private discussions with him. When he called to congratulate him, we had a 2-hour discussion. He's deadly earnest about becoming the most significant, consequential nation in the world. He and others, autocrats, think that democracy can't compete in the 21st century with autocracies. It takes too long to get consensus. To win that competition for the future, in my view, we also need to make a once-in-a-generation investment in our families and our children.
Sankey, the next Oscar goes
That's why I've
to
introduced
me.
the American Families Plan tonight, which addresses 4 of the biggest challenges facing American families and in turn America.
Like opening up the
First
economy.
is access to good education. When this nation made 12 years of public education universal,
I
in the
feel
last
real
century,
nice, Brandon. Thank you.
it made us the best educated, best
Thank you for that
prepared nation in the
comment.
world.
That was fire.
It's, I believe, the overwhelming reason that propelled us to where we got in the 20th century.
What?
But the world's caught up. We're catching up. They're not waiting. I would say parenthetically, if we were sitting down, we set a bipartisan committee together and said, okay, we're going to decide what we do in terms of government providing for free education. I wonder whether we'd think as we
method
did in the
addict?
20th century.
That's so messed
that
up, man.
12 years is enough in the 21st century. I doubt it. 12 years is no longer enough today to compete with the rest of the world in the 21st century. That's why my American Families Plan guarantees 4 additional years of public education for every person in America, starting as early as we can. The great universities in this country have conducted studies of the last 10 years. It shows that adding 2 years of universal high-quality preschool for every 3-year-old and 4-year-old, no matter what background they come from, puts them in a position to be able to compete all the way through 12 years and increases exponentially their prospect of graduating and going on beyond graduation. The research shows when a young child
Research
goes
shows.
to school, not daycare, they're far more likely to graduate from high school and go to college
I could
or
do it.
something after high school.
What?
When you add
Or something.
2 years of free community college on top of that,
They
you
could join a
begin to
gang.
change the
Something.
dynamic.
How about just having
We can do that.
parents together, maybe a father in the home? Those are good starting points. Let's not talk about that. That's too
Programs and
obvious.
invest in historical
Don't
black
forget
colleges,
it.
universities, tribal colleges, minority-serving institutions. The reason is they don't have the endowments,
Oh my God, I love what you're wearing.
but their students are just as capable of learning about cybersecurity, just as capable of learning about metallurgy, all the things that are going on that provide those jobs. in the
Metallurgy?
future.
I don't know what that word means. Is that like
Jill
metalwork?
is a community college professor who teaches today as First Lady.
Oh, please. She is
long
not
said-
teaching. Oh my God, yeah, right. She's teaching every day. She's working for that minimum wage job.
She's long,
She gets coffee at Starbucks, 1 cream, no sugar. She's a normal person.
if I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. Joe, Any country that out-educates us is going to outcompete us.
Fire.
She'll be deeply involved in leading this effort. Thank you, Jill. Second thing we need, American Families Plan will
She
provide
also has the
access
newest
to
phone.
quality, affordable child care.
She's got the newest iPhone
We
12.
guarantee
Oh, free childcare for all. Free. Free, 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 free. Who's going to pay for it? It's free. Don't you guys like free stuff? I like free stuff.
when I'm proposing in legislation, we guarantee that low and middle income families will pay no more than 7% of their income for high quality care for children up to the age of 5.
What if you're a
The most
multimillionaire?
hard-pressed working families won't have to spend a dime. Third, the American Families Plan will finally provide up to 12 weeks of paid leave and medical leave, family medical leave. We're one of the
Who's
few
gonna
industrial
mandate
countries
that?
in the world. No one should have to choose between a job and a paycheck, or taking care of themselves and their loved ones, or parent, or spouse, or child. And fourth, the American Family Plan puts directly into the pockets of millions of Americans.
My brain.
In March,
too.
we
I'm just,
expanded
like,
the tax credit
dumbfounded
for
right
every
now.
child in a family, up to
There's always been one.
$3,000 per child if they're under 6 years of age. Over 6 years of age,
Oh, here we go.
and
Here we
$3,600
go. Daddy's
for children
losing it.
over 6 years.
John's
of
a
age.
little confused.
With 2 parents, 2 kids, that's $7,200 in the pockets that are going to help take care of your family. And that will help more than 65 million children and help cut child care poverty in half. And we can afford it. So we did that in the last piece of legislation we passed. But let's extend that child care tax credit at least through the end of 2025.
Any kind of like contract work, you're not going to be able
The
to
American
implement
Rescue
this.
Plan lowered health care premiums for 9 million Americans who buy their coverage under the Affordable Care Act. I know that's really popular this side of the aisle.
Socialized medicine is
Let's
awesome.
make that provision permanent so their premiums don't go back up.
We were the country that created the vaccines for COVID-19. Why? Not because of socialized health
In
care.
addition to my
I'll promise
family
you that.
plan, I'm going to work with Congress to address this year other critical priorities for American families. The Affordable Care Act has been a lifeline for millions of Americans, protecting people with pre-existing conditions, protecting women's health, and the pandemic has demonstrated how badly it's needed. Let's
We're one of
lower
the best
deductibles
countries.
for working families on the Affordable Care Act. And let's lower prescription drug costs.
Trump did that.
We know how
You
to
took
do
away
this.
the diabetic thing. You did that.
The
Look
last
at
president
Laura,
had that as a
Colorado,
gift. We
holding
all
it
know
down.
how outrageously expensive drugs are in America. In fact,
Yes.
we pay
Trump was
the
talking about
highest
that.
prescription drug prices of anywhere in the world, right here in America.
It's because everyone steals our
Nearly 3 times
freaking information.
for the same drug. Nearly 3 times what
No.
other countries pay.
There'll be 3
We have
times.
to change that, and we can. Let's do what we talked about for all the years I was down here in this body, in Congress. Let's give Medicare the power to save hundreds of billions of dollars by negotiating lower drug prescription prices. And by the way, it won't just help people on Medicare. Lower prescription drug costs for everyone. And the money we save, which is billions of dollars, can go to strengthen the Affordable Care Act and expand Medicare coverage benefits without costing taxpayers an additional penny. It's
Sure.
within our power to do it. Let's do it now.
No way. There's no way it won't cost an extra penny.
We've talked about it long enough. Democrats and Republicans, let's get it done this year. This is all about a simple premise. Health care should be a right, not a privilege in America. So,
Healthcare is not a right.
how do we pay for my jobs and family plan?
Exactly.
I made it clear we can do it without increasing the deficits. Let's start with what I will not do.
Right.
I will not impose any tax increase on people making less than $400,000. But it's time for corporate America and the wealthiest 1% of Americans to just begin to pay
Yeah,
their
you
fair
can,
share.
Lord.
Just their fair share.
The fair share.
Sometimes I have arguments with my friends in the Democratic Party. I think you should be able to become a billionaire and a millionaire, but pay
Sure.
your fair share. A
Yeah.
recent study shows
No incentive to get
55
paid more.
of the nation's biggest corporations paid zero federal tax last year. Those 55 corporations made in excess of $40 billion in profit.
He also
A lot
employed
of
people,
companies
created jobs,
Also evade
built
taxes through
things.
tax havens in Switzerland and Bermuda.
I agree about
the Cayman
that.
Islands. And they benefit from tax loopholes and deductions for offshoring jobs and shifting profits overseas. It's not right.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to
Your
reform
son, Hunter
corporate
Biden,
taxes
should pay
so
money
they
on that
pay their
Ukraine
fair
deal.
share and help pay for
And
the
China.
public investments their businesses will benefit from as well.
Oh, Maxine Waters inciting riots as she speaks.
It's Miss
We're
McConnell.
going to reward work, not just wealth.
You hear that
Take
phone?
the top tax bracket for the wealthiest 1% of
Whose phone
Americans.
is that?
Those making over $400,000 or more, back up to where it was when George W. Bush was president, when he started, 39.6%. That's where it was when George W. was president. We're going to get rid of the loopholes, allow Americans to make more than $1 million a year and pay a lower tax rate on their capital gains than Americans who receive a paycheck. We're only going to affect 0.3% of all Americans by that action, 0.3%. And the IRS is going to crack down on millionaires and billionaires who cheat on their taxes. It's estimated to be billions of dollars.
They don't cheat on the
Think
taxes.
tanks are left, right, and center.
You wrote the tax code,
I'm not going
Biden.
to punish anybody. But I will not add a tax burden, additional tax burden to the middle class in this country. They're already paying enough.
400,000 is
I
like
believe
minimum
what I
wage in
propose is
California.
fair, fiscally responsible, and it raises revenue to pay for the plans I propose and will create millions of jobs that will grow the economy and enhance our financial standing in the country. When you hear someone say they don't want to raise taxes on the wealthiest 1% or corporate America, ask them
It's a talking point.
whose taxes you want to raise. Instead, who's they going to cut? Look, the big tax cut of 2017. Remember, it was supposed to pay for itself. That was how it was sold. And generate vast economic growth. Instead, it added $2 trillion to the deficit. It was a huge windfall for corporate America and those at the very top. Instead of using the tax saving to raise wages and invest in research and development, it poured billions of dollars into the pockets of CEOs. In fact, the pay gap between CEOs and their workers is now
I work an average
one
of
of the
52
largest
hours
in
a week
history.
and health insurance.
According
through
to
a
one
corporation.
study, CEOs make 320 times
Exactly.
what the average worker in their corporation makes. Used
Many
to
people
be
didn't understand
below
that, like,
100.
when I was making 30,000 a
pandemic
year
has
and I bought
only made things
private insurance
worse.
for myself,
20
it was
million
more than I
Americans
ever
lost
paid
their
after
job in the
Obama.
pandemic. Working and middle class Americans. At the same time, roughly 650 billionaires in America saw their net worth increase by more than $1 trillion in the same exact period. Let me say it again. 650 people increased their wealth by more than $1 trillion during this pandemic.
Why work when you can get paid more
And
for
they're now worth more
unemployment?
than $4 trillion.
It's unbelievable.
My fellow
I still work because I
Americans,
know the mental benefit of
trickle
actually
down.
having a job.
Trickle-down economics has never worked. And it's time to grow the economy from the bottom and the middle out.
That's never worked. Trickle-down economics always works at the top, creates the jobs, which gets money, and then creates that, and then you want to rise up, so then you have more money, and then you get more money.
There's a broad consensus of economists left, right, and center, and they agree.
I love when people say that.
Millions of jobs and generate historic economic growth. These
Experts
are among the highest
agree.
values investments we can make
Experts
as a nation.
agree.
I've often said our greatest strength is the power of our example, not just the example of our power. In my conversations with world leaders, and I've spoken to over 38, 40 of them now, I've made it known. I've made it known.
Say it again.
That America's
I made
back.
it known.
You know what they say?
What do they say?
The comment I hear most of all from them?
Say it, Joe. Tell us what
They
it
say,
is.
we see America's back,
But
for how long? But for how long?
until Kamala becomes
My fellow
president.
Americans, we have to show not just that we're back, but that we're back to stay. And that we aren't going to go it alone.
What does that even
We're going
mean?
to do it by leading with our allies. No one nation can deal with all the crises of our time, from terrorism to nuclear proliferation, mass migration, cybersecurity, climate change, as well as what we're experiencing now, pandemics. There's no wall high enough to keep any virus out. And our own vaccine supply, as it grows to meet our needs, and we're meeting them, will become an arsenal for vaccines for other countries, just as America was an arsenal for democracy for the world, and in consequence influence the world. But every American will have access before that occurs. Every American have access to be fully covered by COVID-19 from the vaccines we have.
I haven't been vaccinated.
The
Don't
climate
judge me.
crisis is not
Or
our
support
fight
me.
alone, it's a global fight. The United States accounts, as all of you know, less than 15% of carbon emissions. The rest of the world accounts for 85%. That's why I kept my commitment to rejoin the Paris Accord, because if we do everything perfectly, it's not going to only matter. I kept my commitment to convene a climate summit right here in America with all the major economies of the world. China, Russia, India,
China.
European Union. And I said I'd do it in my first 100 days. I want to be very blunt about it.
Be blunt, baby.
I had my attempt was to make sure
Whoa,
the
we had a
world could
little
see there was a
blunder.
consensus.
A Biden blunder there.
that we are at an inflection point in
I'll take a
history.
Biden blender with a
Consensus-
banana,
consensus
strawberry,
is
and
if
apple.
we act to save the planet, we can create millions of jobs and economic growth and opportunity and raise the standard of living almost everyone around the world. If you watched any of it and you were all busy, I'm sure you didn't have much time. That's what virtually every nation said, even the ones that aren't doing their fair share. The investments I propose tonight also advance the foreign policy, in my view, that benefits the middle class. That means making sure every nation plays by the same rules in the global economy, including China.
Global tax.
In my discussion with President Xi, I told him, we welcome the competition. We're not looking for conflict. But I made absolutely clear that we will defend America's interest across the board. America will stand up to unfair trade practices that undercut American workers and
Rick
American
Scott is
industries
like,
like
huh?
subsidies from state to state-owned operations and enterprises, and the theft of American technology and intellectual property. I also told President Xi that we'll maintain a strong military presence in the Indo-Pacific, just as we do with NATO and Europe, not to start a conflict, but to prevent one.
We'll see. We'll see. Russia hasn't backed down yet.
I told them what I've said to many world leaders, that America will not back away from our commitments, our commitment to human rights and fundamental freedoms, and to our alliances. And I pointed out to him, no responsible American president could remain silent when basic human rights are being so blatantly violated. An American president has to represent the essence of
American
what our country
president.
stands for. America is an idea, the most unique idea in history.
Just like Antifa.
We are created,
It's
all
just an
of
idea.
us equal. It's who we are.
But we're systematically
And we
racist.
cannot walk away from that principle and, in fact, say we're dealing with the American idea. With regard to Russia,
What?
I know it concerns some of you.
Who wrote
But I made
this?
very clear to Putin that we're not going to seek escalation, but their actions will have consequences. They turn
Yes,
out
he
to
is
be true,
yelling
and they
again.
turned out to be true.
I'm yelling because I'm
So I
emphasizing my
responded
point.
directly and proportionally to Russia's interference in our elections and the cyber attacks on our government and our business. They did both of these things. And I told them we would respond, and we have.
Golly.
We can also cooperate when it's our mutual interest. We did it when we extended the New START Treaty on nuclear arms, and we're working to do it
Say
on
that
climate
again?
change. But
Uh-oh,
he
he's starting to slip a little
understands
bit.
we will respond. On Iran and North Korea.
And I told my ships to turn around
nuclear
from the Baltic
programs that
Sea.
present serious threats to American security and the security of the world.
Stop
We're going to
yelling.
be working closely with our allies to address the threats posed by both of these countries through diplomacy as well as stern deterrence.
Real talk, every time he
American
talks, I just
leadership
think about
means
this.
ending the
Miss
forever
this.
war in
I
Afghanistan.
miss laughing.
We have
Medication's wearing off. Yes. That vitamin B supplement and
without
D.
hyperbole, the greatest
That
fighting
B
force
shot,
in the history of
B12
the
shot.
world. I'm the first president in 40 years who knows what it means to have a son serving in a war zone.
Yeah, you've talked
Today we
about
have
it a lot.
service members serving in the same war zone as their parents did. We have service members in Afghanistan who were not yet born on 9/11.
And then you pushed it
The war
back
in
to September
Afghanistan,
11th.
as we remember the debates here,
No one
were
talks about
never
that.
meant to be
I talk about
multi-generational undertakings of nation building. We went to Afghanistan
It's
to
also
get
an hour past
the
bedtime.
terrorists who attacked us on 9/11. And we said we would follow Osama bin Laden to the gates of hell to do it.
of hell.
If you've been in the upper Konar Valley, you've kind
The
of seen
gates
the
of
gates of hell. And we delivered justice to bin Laden. We degraded the terrorist threat of al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. And after 20 years of
Uh-oh, he's yelling.
valor, and sacrifice, it's time to bring those troops home.
But not May 1st, September 11th. I'm doing a great job.
Even as we do, we'll maintain over-the-horizon capacity to suppress future threats to the homeland. Make no mistake, in 20 years, terrorism has metastasized. The threat has evolved way beyond Afghanistan. Those of you in the intelligence committees, the foreign relations committee, defense committees, you know well, we have to remain vigilant against the threats to the United States wherever they come from. Al-Qaeda and ISIS are in Yemen, Syria, Somalia, other places in Africa, in the Middle East, and beyond. And we won't ignore what our intelligence agencies have determined to be the most lethal terrorist threat to the homeland today. White supremacy is terrorism. We're not going to ignore that either. My fellow Americans, look,
supremacy.
we have to come together to heal the soul of this nation.
Oh, shut up!
It was
Like white
nearly a
supremacy
year
is a
ago
real
before
issue in
her
this
father's
problem, in
funeral,
this country. It's
When I
ridiculous.
spoke with Gianna Floyd, George Floyd's young daughter. She's a little tyke, so I was kneeling down to talk to her
Whoa! Watch your mouth.
so I could look her in the eye. She looked at me, she said,
Oh yeah, we can talk
"My
about
daddy
that.
changed the world."
Can we all talk about
Well,
how we gave the insurgents guns first?
After the
Yes,
conviction
we
of George
can.
Floyd's murderer,
We
you
definitely
can
armed
see
him.
how right she was if we have the courage to
Walk
act
up the
as Congress.
stairs.
We've all seen the knee of injustice on the neck of black Americans. Now's our opportunity to make some real progress. The vast majority of men and women wearing a uniform and a badge serve our communities, and they serve them honorably. I know them.
You don't
I
act
know
like
they
that.
want-
Shut up! You do not act like that. Oh, Maxine Waters is standing up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut the freaking. She's standing up. No, they're trying to walk back the whole defund the police.
Well.
They are.
My fellow Americans, we have to come together to rebuild trust between law enforcement and the people they serve, to root out systemic racism in our criminal justice system, and to enact police reform in George Floyd's name that passed the House already. I know Republicans have their own ideas and are engaged in very productive discussions with Democrats in the Senate. We need to work together to find a consensus. But let's get it done next month, by the first anniversary of George Floyd's death. The country supports this reform, and Congress should act.
I love when they say the country
We have a
supports.
giant opportunity to bend the arc of the moral universe toward justice.
George
real
Washington,
justice.
Famous quote, political
And with the
parties will
plans
ruin this
outlined
country.
tonight,
Yes, they will.
We have a real chance to
Yes.
root out systemic racism that plagues America and American lives in other ways. A chance to deliver real equity. Good
Equity,
jobs, good
God, that
schools,
freaking
affordable
word.
housing, clean air, clean water, being able to generate wealth and pass it down through generations because you have access to purchase a house.
And maybe a
Real
little bit of green
opportunities
energy.
in the lives of more Americans, black, white,
Just a
Latino,
little bit of
Asian
crack.
Americans, Native Americans. Look, I also
Hook,
want
luck,
to
fuck,
thank the
tuck.
United States Senate
Say it.
for voting
They're doing a great job.
94-1 to pass the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act to protect Asian American and Pacific Islanders.
Hate crimes acts are so stupid. We already have.
You acted.
If you punch an
Decisively.
Asian because they're Asian in the face, you still punch them. That's a crime.
You can see on television the viciousness of the hate crimes we've seen over the past year,
Yeah, say
for
it.
too long.
Majority done
I
by.
urge the House to do the
By who?
same and send that legislation to my desk, which I will gladly, anxiously sign. I also hope Congress will get to my desk the Equality Act to protect LGBTQ Americans.
What do you mean
For all
protect? I love those
transgender
words.
Americans watching at
Protect.
home, especially young people.
They don't tell you anything in the
so
bill.
brave.
They
I
just
want
say
you to know
words
your
like
president has
you
your back.
believe. They just tell you
Another
words
thing.
like you want to believe, like, hey, we're going to protect.
Women Act, which has been law for 27 years.
Laws Against Women Act. The U.S. president working
27
for 2
years
years
ago,
and the
I
other
wrote
2
it.
years campaigning. Yes.
It'll close the act that has to be authorized now. Will close the boyfriend loophole to keep guns out of the hands of abusers. The court order said this is an abuser. You can't own a gun. It's to close that loophole.
I
that
own
existed.
3 guns. I know that's
You know,
not
it's
a lot.
estimated
Just a humble brag.
that 50 women are shot and killed by an intimate partner every month in America. 50 a month. Let's pass it and save some lives.
I didn't hear what he said. Was he talking about
And I
red
need
flag
to-
laws? Somebody fill me in.
I need not tell anyone this, but gun violence has become an epidemic.
You own 60 guns?
The flag at the White House was still
amazing.
flying at half-mast for the 8 victims of the mass shooting in Georgia, when 10 more lives were taken in a mass shooting in Colorado. And in the week in between those
That
two
phone
events,
alarm just went off.
250
This
other
phone
Americans
alarm
were
is
shot
dead
dead
in
in
the
the streets
background.
of America. 250 shot
Buy
dead.
illegal guns. Bought illegally.
I know how hard it is to make progress on this issue.
I love
In the 90s, we
statistics that
passed
aren't.
universal background checks. A ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines.
There's
that
already
hold
background
100
checks.
rounds that can be fired off in
Oh,
seconds.
just little shout out to Laura.
We beat the
Laura.
NRA.
Laura. You
Mass
got your gun on
shootings
your
and
hip,
gun
girl?
violence decline. Check out the report over 10 years. But in the early 2000s,
My son
law
got a gun,
expired.
and he shouldn't have.
we've seen daily bloodshed since. I'm not saying if the law continued, we wouldn't
I like
see
how no one
bloodshed.
is yelling at ATF for not doing their jobs.
2
Exactly.
weeks ago on the
ATF
Rose
is
Garden,
corrupt. They
Surrounded
control the
by
background
some
checks.
of the bravest
Yes.
people I know, the survivors and families who lost loved ones to gun violence. I laid out several of the Department of Justice actions that are being taken to impact on this epidemic. One of them is banning
away the
so-called
tool.
ghost guns.
Oh my
Those
God,
are
ghost
homemade
guns.
guns
People
built
aren't
from a
committing
kit
all
that
these
includes
crimes with ghost
directions
guns.
How to finish the firearm.
They're like nerdy guys like me that like to build
The
stuff.
parts have no serial numbers, so they show up at crime scenes, and they can't be traced.
The real issue is they don't like
Buyers
ghost
of
guns
these
because they
ghost gun
can't
kits
track you.
Aren't required to pass any background check. Anyone, from a criminal or terrorist, could buy this kit and within 30 minutes have a weapon. That's
30
lethal,
minutes.
but no more.
Have you ever done it yourself?
And I'll do everything in my power to protect the American people from this epidemic of gun violence. But it's time for Congress to act as well.
No, screw you guys. Don't touch my guns, bruh. Bruh. Ted Cruz, do more.
I don't want to become confrontational, but we need more Senate Republicans to join the overwhelming majority of Democratic colleagues and
Screw you.
close the loopholes required in background check purchases.
There's no loopholes. That's a lie.
We need a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity
Past yours in under a
magazines.
minute. I just bought one the other day and
Don't
it took
tell
me a
it
week
can't
to
be
get it
done.
back.
We did it before and it worked. Talk to most responsible gun owners and hunters. They'll tell you there's no possible justification for having 100 rounds in a weapon.
That's bullcrap.
What do you think?
Shake it.
deer
No,
wear
no,
Kevlar
no, no,
vests? And what's,
It's all about
they'll
control.
tell you that there are too many people today who are able to buy a gun but shouldn't be able to buy a gun.
I just
These
tried to post
kinds of
a
reasonable
Mac 10 with
reforms
two
have
hand
overwhelming
grenades.
support from the American people, including many gun owners. The country supports reform this, and Congress should act. This shouldn't be a red or blue issue. And no amendment to the Constitution is absolute. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. From the very beginning, there were certain guns, weapons
No amendment
that
is
could
absolute.
not be owned by Americans.
And one day slavery will be
Certain
back.
people could not
That makes sense for the
own
Democrats,
those
though.
weapons ever.
And they also had warships,
We're not
private
changing the
warships,
Constitution.
and cannons.
We're being reasonable.
No, you're not.
I think this is not
You're
a
all about
Democrat
control.
or Republican
Wear your
issue. I think
mask.
It's an American issue.
Shut up.
And here's what
It's
else
more
we can
American.
do.
If I have whatever gun
Immigration
you
has
want.
always been essential to America.
No law is absolute.
Let's end our exhausting war over immigration. For more than 30 years, politicians have talked about immigration reform, and we've done nothing about it.
Exactly.
time
We
to
stop
fix it.
walls.
On
We
day one
disallow
of my
the walkthrough.
presidency, I kept my commitment and sent a comprehensive immigration bill to the United States Congress.
And created a border
If you
crisis.
believe we need to secure the border, pass it because it has a lot of money for high-tech border security. If you believe in a pathway to citizenship, pass it. There's over 11 million undocumented folks, the vast majority of here overstaying visas.
They want
Pass
to
it.
stay.
We can actually, if you
Undocumented.
actually want to solve a problem, I've sent a
Build
bill
the ball.
to take a close look at it.
Look at Ted.
We have to
He's
also
like,
have to get at the root problem.
"Come on
of why
down to
people are
Texas,
fleeing,
tell me
particularly
that,
to
my
to our
face."
southern border from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. The violence, the corruption, the gangs, the political instability, hunger, hurricanes, earthquakes, natural disasters.
You say gangs? They're not sending
When I
their
was
best.
when I was vice president, the president asked me to focus on providing
Oops.
help needed to address the
Little
root
blind-
causes
Biden
of
blind.
migration. And it helped keep people in their own countries instead of being forced to leave.
Why would they say our
Plan
country's
was
better?
working, but the last
Just-
administration decided it was not worth it. I'm restoring the program and asked Vice President Harris to lead our diplomatic effort to take care of this.
She's doing a great job
I
at
have
the border
absolute
right now.
confidence she'll get the job done.
She's doing a great job. There's child trafficking, there's drugs crossing more than ever before, and more people are crossing
If you
ever
don't
before.
like my plan,
She's doing a great job.
let's at least pass what we all agree on.
Build the
Congress
wall.
needs to pass legislation this year to finally secure protection for dreamers. The young people have only known America
Dreamers.
as their home.
They're not illegal immigrants. They're migrants.
And permanent protection
I'm a dreamer.
for
What about my protection?
immigrants who are here on temporary protective status who came from countries beset by man-made and natural-made violence and disaster,
Yay for gangs. Oh my.
as well as a pathway to citizenship for farm workers who put food on our tables. Look, immigrants have
They don't
done
wanna
so
pay
much for
taxes.
America during this pandemic
They like that under the table pay.
and throughout our history. The country supports immigration reform.
Yes.
We should
Me
act.
too. Tarkov.
Let's argue over it. Let's debate it. But let's act. And if we truly want to restore the soul of America, we need to protect the sacred right to vote.
Ooh.
Most people.
ID to vote? Yay, ID to vote. 2 masks, 1 mask. ID to vote, 1 mask.
More people voted in the last presidential election than any time in American history. In the middle of the worst pandemic ever. It should be celebrated. Instead, it's being attacked.
I wonder why.
Congress should pass H.R. 1 and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and send it to my desk. Right the country supports it.
No, it doesn't.
Congress should act now.
I'm Jim Clyburn.
Here tonight, the image
Term
of the
limits,
violent
please.
mob assaulting this Capitol, desecrating our democracy.
Oh my
remain
God.
vivid in
Can
all
we
our
get-
minds. Lives were put at risk, many of your lives. Lives were lost. Extraordinary courage was summoned. The insurrection was an existential crisis, a test of whether our democracy could survive, and it did. But the struggle is far from over. The question of whether our democracy will long endure is both ancient and urgent. As old as our republic, still vital today. Can our democracy deliver on its promise that all of us, created equal in the image of God, had a chance to lead lives of dignity, respect, and possibility? Can our democracy deliver to the most pressing needs of our people? Can our democracy overcome the lies, anger, hate, and fears that have pulled us apart? America's adversaries, the autocrats
Term limits
of the
would
world,
fix so many
are
problems.
betting we can't.
Very true.
And I promise you, they're betting we can't. They believe we're too full of anger and division and rage.
U.S.
They
following
look at the
Rome's
images of the
footsteps.
mob that assaulted the Capitol as proof that the sun is setting on American democracy. But they're wrong. You know it, I know it. But we have to prove them wrong. We have to prove democracy still works, that our government still works, and we can deliver for our people.
Make
In our
make
first 100
voter
days
ID
together,
okay.
We've
Why is that
acted to
such a big
restore
deal?
people's faith in democracy to deliver. We're vaccinating the
Voter
nation.
ID.
We're creating hundreds of thousands of new jobs. We're
Voter ID.
delivering real results to people. They can see it and feel it in their own lives. Opening doors of opportunity, guaranteeing some more fairness and justice. That's the essence of America. That's
Fairness
democracy
and
in
justice.
action. Our Constitution
Fair
opens
for
with
who?
the words as trite as it sounds. We the people. Well, it's time to remember that we the people are the government. You and I.
What?
Not some force in a distant capital. Not some powerful force that we have no control over. It's us.
No, we the people
It's
are we
we
the people. Not the government.
In another era, when our democracy was tested, Franklin Roosevelt reminded us, in America, we do our part. We all do our part. That's all I'm asking. That we do our part, all of us. And if we do that, we will meet the center challenge of the age by proving that democracy is durable and strong. Autocrats will not win the future. We will. America will. And the future
What makes
belongs
America
to
great is being able to meet someone with
As I
complete
stand
opposite
here
views and be
tonight
able to
before
shake their
you
hand.
in a new
Exactly.
and vital hour of life and
That's going
democracy of
away
our nation.
slowly.
And I can say with absolute confidence, I have never been more confident or optimistic about America. Not because I'm president, because of what's happening with the American people. We've stared into the abyss of insurrection and autocracy.
Shut up like
pandemic
that was a
and
big
pain.
deal.
And we, the people, did not flinch. At the very moment our adversaries were certain we'd pull apart and fail, we came together, we united. With light and hope, we summoned a new strength, new resolve to position us to win the competition of the 21st century. On our way to a union more perfect, more prosperous, and more just, as one people, one nation, and one America. Folks, as I told every world leader I've ever met with over the years,
And the Bryce said he won't get
never,
reelected.
ever
That's
been
true.
a
He'll
good
probably be.
bet to bet against America. And
I didn't think he would
still
last.
Isn't.
I didn't think he would last till May.
United States of America, there is not a single thing, nothing beyond our capacity We can do whatever we set our minds to if we do it together. So let's begin to get together.
He's finishing.
God bless you all, and may
God bless our
protect
troops.
troops.
Ah,
Thank
dang
you
it.
for your patience.
And there it is, people. Elbow bumps. Oh my God, you're so cool.
President Biden in his first address
Okay, so there it is. What are your thoughts on it? Let me know you guys' thoughts on it in the comments below. That was all about the infrastructure plan, how he's going to spend more money on the American Families Act with the price tag of $1.8 trillion. Talked about raising taxes. Talked about climate, police reform, talked about gun control, which is a fun word. It's all about control. To say otherwise, it's a lie. We do it together, then proceeds to call every Republican's idea wrong. Exactly. It's not about wrong. It's about compliance. Let me know your guys' thoughts below. Don't forget the minimum $15 minimum wage. Yes, exactly. That $15 minimum wage is no joke. It will cripple restaurants. What do you guys think about the $15 minimum wage? That $15 minimum wage will kill the restaurant business. Real talk. And just people that do DoorDash or Uber Eats. The only gun control I can agree with at all is getting rid of hybrid barrels. That's about it. I don't think I know too much about hybrid barrels. What's that? It just creates more velocity, or I see. See, I'm in the party that thinks that you should be able to do whatever you want with your guns, because I feel like more guns in the hands of Americans will create a safer environment, not less safer. I think majority of these shootings happen in gun-free zones because they know they're gun-free zones. I'm just elbow bumping people. You can sort of hear what he's talking about, but you can shoot two, 3 round or 5 or 6 round out of it. Oh yeah. I like that. That's what my AR has. It's a barrel that shoots both ammos. You don't like that? I don't see any problem with it. I'm a huge fan of the AR, not because it's just fun to shoot with. It's all about a ridiculous number at this point. There are no overcoming this debt. We are misogynistic joke at all. Yeah. I don't understand why our debt isn't made a bigger deal. I mean, I understand Democrats not caring, but under the Trump administration, we just went into more debt. Though Trump was spending about a $10 trillion additional every year, Biden did that in the first 100 days. So if that'll tell you any indication of what this 4 years is going to be like, I don't know. Fauci says elbow bumps are illegal now. I need to get that elbow bump action. Elbow. Because if they ignore it, they will get Because if they ignore it, they will get reelected. Yeah. I honestly wish term limits were more pushed by both parties. It would just benefit us as a country so much. I cannot stand these career politicians. I get it brings some of our brightest and best to it because then there's a career to be made out of it, but I just see so much negative in a sense. And they call themselves like public servants is an entire joke when Biden didn't go into this a millionaire, but he is certainly coming out a multimillionaire. And just like our friend Bernie Sanders. These billionaires, I'm a millionaire. These billionaires and zillionaires Thanks for doing this, man. Hey, Justin, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for tuning in, brother. Probably about wrapping this up. But yeah, it was exactly what we thought it was going to be. There was nothing different, nothing extreme. Everything that he talked about already came out before it was talked about. So there's obviously a decent leak in his administration for childcare and raising the minimum wage and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like one of those things the media is going to overhype him because he made it through a speech. They're going to act like he was like, that was like the most magical thing that's ever happened to mankind, is that he didn't fall asleep mid-sentence and he made it through a whole speech without falling down. I mean, he still has to walk up the ramp right here. And notice how not a single Republican is talking to him so far. Maybe he's purposely not avoiding them. I'm not sure. Don't know who that is. They look like the same person. All these people are vaccinated. Man, he was doing elbow things. Now he's like doing a full man handshake right now. Oh my God. That just went in my ears. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you be sure to share this show with anyone and everyone you know and let everyone know about the Derek O'Shea Show. I appreciate you guys. Have a fantastic night.